Okay, so this is question 8.1.53. And the question is, they want us to, given this line segment right here from negative 3, 2 up to 1, 4, they want us to identify the distance between P and Q, and they also want us to identify the midpoint. Okay, so I'm going to make this a little bit bigger here. I'm going to not really even draw an axis, but we're going from the point negative 3, 2 to the point 1, 4. Okay, and we want to find distance and midpoint. Okay, so the first thing is the distance formula is the square root of y2 minus y1 squared plus x2 minus x1 squared. Okay, so what we would do is if we just labeled this x1, y1 and x2, y2, then we could plug these into this formula, and we have the distance equaling y2 is 4 minus y1 is 2 squared plus x2 is 1 minus x1, which is negative 3 squared. Okay? All right, so the distance here ends up being the square root of, this is 2 squared, and then we have plus 1 minus a negative 3 is 1 plus 3, so this becomes 4 squared. Okay, so this is the square root of 2 squared is 4, and 4 squared is 16. So we end up with the distance being the square root of 20. Now the square root of 20 simplifies, and they did say right here, it says simplify your answer, type an exact answer using radicals. So they want us to leave it in the exact form, which means we need to simplify this. I'm going to write 20 as the square root of 4 times 5. And then the square root of 4 is equivalent to 2. So I would bring that out and call this 2 times the square root of 5. Okay, so that's the distance. This would be your answer for the distance. The midpoint, our formula for the midpoint, essentially what you're doing is you're taking the average of the ordered pair points. So I would average the x values and average the y values. That means add them up and divide by 2. Okay. So the midpoint here would be if I take x1 and add it to x2, so I have negative 3 plus 1 divided by 2, and then y1 plus y2 would be 2 plus 4 divided by 2. Okay, so the midpoint here would be, this is negative 2 over 2, which is negative 1, and this is 6 over 2, which is 3. So your midpoint would be the ordered pair point, negative 1, 3. Okay?